The great council of the Zelthar Empire gathered inside a shining chamber that floated above their home planet. The air shimmered with blue energy. Thousands of alien voices whispered in the circular hall, their tones filled with both pride and fear. For centuries, the Zelthar had ruled over dozens of species. Their fleets were unmatched, their weapons ancient and powerful. And now, they had made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. They were going to destroy humanity. A tall alien commander stepped forward. His armor reflected the council's lights as he spoke in a deep voice that echoed through the chamber. Humans have crossed into our mining systems. They are spreading fast, building colonies near our trade routes. If we do not stop them now, they will rise against us later. The crowd murmured in agreement. Only one voice dared to object, a smaller alien scholar named Ekron. I have studied them, he said quietly. They are not like the others we have conquered. They learn fast. They are unpredictable, and they remember every wrong done to them. Laughter filled the chamber. They are fragile, said another counselor. They fight each other every century. They destroy their own planet for power. How could such creatures stand against an empire like ours? But Ekron's words faded into silence as the council leader raised his clawed hand. Then it is decided. The Zelthar Empire declares war on humanity. Across the galaxy, in the shadows of the Sol system, the message was received. The Terran Defense Fleet listened in silence as coded signals from deep space confirmed the impossible. First contact, and it was hostile. Admiral John Reeves stood on the bridge of the battleship Erebus staring at the transmission. Behind him, officers worked at their stations, their faces pale in the cold blue light of the command center. So it begins, he said quietly. Earth had always known this day would come. After centuries of wars and peace, after countless political struggles, humanity had learned one thing. Survival was their true nature. They did not conquer for glory. They fought only when forced. And when they fought until nothing was left standing. From the dark side of Jupiter, the human fleet stirred. Massive ships came alive one by one, their hulls glowing faintly in the void. Each ship bore the symbol of the Terran Alliance, a rising sun over an iron shield. Engines hummed softly as soldiers prepared for battle. Captain Maya Chen, commander of the Vigilant, looked out her window as the fleet aligned. Do they really think we will just kneel? She asked. Admiral Reeves replied over the intercom. They do not know what humans are, Captain. They think we are animals. Let us remind them what kind of animals we are. Far across the stars, the Zelthar fleet approached Earth's outer colonies. Thousands of ships, sleek and black as shadows, moved like a tide of death. Their weapons charged, glowing with energy drawn from captured suns. They believed this war would end in a week. The first target was Titan, Saturn's largest moon, where a small human research base stood quietly under thick orange clouds. Inside the base, scientist Dr. Leon Torres was running mineral scans when the alarms began to scream. The ground shook as explosions flashed through the hazy atmosphere. Outside, the sky turned red. Dozens of alien cruisers broke through the mist, firing plasma beams that tore through Titan's ice plains. Leon ran to the communications room shouting, "This is Titan Outpost 7. We are under attack. Multiple ships inbound, unknown origin." Her voice was drowned out by static and the sound of collapsing walls. The signal reached Mars before the outpost was destroyed. When the message reached Earth, silence filled the war room. A dozen generals and leaders stood around a holographic map of the solar system. Small red marks appeared one by one, each a fallen colony. The president of the Alliance turned to Admiral Reeves. "How long before we can respond?" Reeves's expression did not change. "We already have, sir." He pressed a command key. Across the black of space, the human fleet broke formation and moved forward. The Erebus, Vigilant, and hundreds of others began their silent advance toward the enemy. Their movement was slow, steady, and deliberate, like hunters closing in on prey that thought it was safe. The first battle began near Europa, one of Jupiter's frozen moons. Alien warships appeared suddenly, their plasma cannons lighting up the void. Human ships took the first hits, but the shields held. The alien commander laughed. "Their defenses are weak. Finish them." But the laughter ended when a single human missile streaked through the darkness and struck one of the alien cruisers. It did not explode at first. Instead, it pierced the hull, burrowed deep, and detonated with a light brighter than the sun. The alien ship split in half. Silence filled the alien communications channel. Then came a single human transmission, calm, cold, and final. You fired first. We will finish this. The stars themselves seemed to shake. As the first Zelthar fleet fell apart, panic spread through the alien ranks. They had underestimated the humans. Their technology was strange, less advanced yet more deadly. Their tactics were unpredictable. Every time the aliens adapted, the humans changed again. From his command deck, Admiral Reeves watched the debris drift past the window. "Send this message," he ordered. "To every alien signal in range," the officer nodded. "What should I say, sir?" Reeves looked out into the void where the wreckage burned faintly in the distance. "Tell them the war they wanted has begun. Tell them humanity is awake." The stars glowed with the reflection of fire. The war had only started, but something ancient had been stirred. Something the galaxy had forgotten. And soon, they would all remember why no one should ever awaken the fury of humankind. The Zelthar Empire had expected a quick victory. They thought the humans would beg for mercy once their colonies fell. But after Titan and Europa, something changed. The humans did not surrender, they multiplied. Every human outpost became a fortress. Every ship became a weapon. The silent fury of mankind spread across the stars like wildfire. From the command bridge of the alien flagship Vornal, High Commander Sareth watched the latest reports. His black eyes narrowed as holographic maps showed dozens of red marks appearing near the front lines. Each red mark represented a destroyed Zelthar ship. "How?" he demanded. "Their numbers are small. Their ships are primitive," no one dared to answer. Then one officer whispered, "Their strategies change faster than we can predict." Sareth turned to face the vast star field ahead. "Then we adapt faster, deploy the full armada, crush them before they reach our worlds." But far across the void, humanity had already moved beyond the front lines. Admiral Reeves stood aboard the Erebus as the human fleet gathered near Neptune's orbit. The darkness around them glowed faintly with the light of distant stars. The crew worked quietly. No music, no cheers, no celebration. Every soldier knew this was not a fight for power. It was survival. "Report," Reeves said. Captain Maya Chen's voice came through the comms. "All squadrons ready. The Vigilant and the Odyssey are in position. We're tracking multiple alien signals approaching fast." Reeves nodded. "Hold formation. Let them come." Moments later, space itself seemed to ignite. The Zelthar fleet arrived in full force. Thousands of ships glowing blue and white, stretching across the stars like a storm. The alien weapons lit up the void, firing plasma beams that tore through space. But the humans did not retreat. The Erebus launched its fighters first. Hundreds of small human crafts darted into battle, weaving through enemy fire with impossible precision. Their AI pilots adapted mid-fight, changing flight patterns every second. The aliens tried to target them, but every hit missed by a fraction. "Who trained these creatures?" Sareth shouted as his ship struggled to hit anything. "They're not all human pilots, sir," said an officer. "Some of them are machines." On the Vigilant, Captain Chen smiled grimly as she watched her drones dance between enemy ships. "You wanted a war," she whispered. "Now meet the children of Earth's chaos." A swarm of human drones dived straight into an alien battleship. For a moment there was silence. Then the ship erupted, torn apart from the inside. The blast waves shook nearby vessels. Everywhere, chaos spread. Alien formations broke. Human ships moved like predators, silent, fast, and merciless. They did not fight by alien rules. They fought to survive, using every trick, every weapon, every ounce of human will. The humans had no single commander shouting orders. Each captain acted on instinct. One ship fell, two more took its place. Every death was answered with vengeance. By the third hour of battle, the Zelthar had lost 1/3 of their fleet. In the center of the storm, the Erebus advanced slowly, its massive cannons charging with a deep hum. The human flagship moved through the wreckage of fallen ships, its shadow long and heavy. "Target their flagship," Reeves ordered. "Let them see who they are fighting." A beam of red light shot from the Erebus, slicing through space like a blade. The alien flagship's shields flared, screamed, and broke. The explosion was silent in the vacuum, but every soldier watching felt it in their bones. High Commander Sareth's ship split apart. His final transmission crackled through static. "They are monsters," but to the humans they were not monsters. They were survivors. When the battle ended, only silence remained. The stars were filled with drifting debris. glowing faintly like embers after a storm. Captain Chen looked at the battlefield from her viewport. "So many dead," she said softly. Admiral Reeves's voice came through. "War has a price, Captain. But they fired first. We will make sure no one forgets what that means." Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Empires that once looked down on humanity began to whisper in fear. Reports of human victories reached every corner of space. The stories grew with each telling. Some said human ships could vanish into hyperspace like ghosts. Others claimed their soldiers did not sleep for days, fueled by anger and loss. But one truth remained the same. No one could match humanity's fury once awakened. Even the alien prisoners began to speak of it. A captured Zelthar officer, his armor cracked and scorched, looked at his interrogator with trembling eyes. "You are not like the others," he said. "You fight as if your souls are already burning." The human soldier replied coldly, "Maybe they are." Back on Earth, news of the victory spread. Cities that once feared extinction now lit up in hope. Families who had lost loved ones found pride in their sacrifice. Humanity had faced an ancient empire and won the first battle. But Reeves knew it was only the beginning. He stood on the observation deck watching the reflection of Earth's blue glow below. "They'll come again," said Maya, walking up beside him. Reeves nodded. "Yes, but next time we'll be ready." The Admiral turned to face the stars. His eyes were calm, but his voice carried the weight of every fallen soul. "We have seen their power. They have now seen ours. And before this ends, the galaxy will learn that peace is not given. It is earned through fire." Behind him, the human fleet began to move once more. Engines flared, weapons charged, and the darkness trembled. The fury of humanity was awake, and the stars would never be the same again. The war dragged on. Weeks turned into months, and space became a graveyard of burning wrecks. Broken ships drifted silently among shattered moons. The light of distant suns flickered behind walls of smoke and debris. The Zelthar Empire, once proud and feared, was falling apart. Their fleets were smaller now, their generals desperate, but still they refused to surrender. Pride had become their only weapon. On the human side, silence had replaced celebration. The first victories had been sweet, but the cost was high. Millions were gone. Soldiers, civilians, entire colonies reduced to ash. Every time a human ship returned to Earth, fewer names were called during roll call. Admiral Reeves stood before a large holographic map in the Terran command hall. Dozens of glowing red lines showed battlefronts across the galaxy. Around him, the top commanders waited for his decision. Captain Maya Chen was among them, her face hard but tired. "They will keep coming," she said. "We destroy one fleet, they build another. We can't win this way." Reeves's gaze stayed fixed on the map. "You're right, Captain. That's why we're changing the game." He pressed a button on the console. The map shifted, showing hidden zones of space. Dark sectors beyond known trade routes. Lines of secret movement appeared, revealing something vast. Gasps filled the room. It was Operation Dawnstrike. For decades, Earth's scientists had built something beyond imagination. Hidden in the void near Pluto were world ships, massive vessels capable of carrying entire cities. They were not made for peace. They were humanity's last answer if extinction ever came. Reeves spoke quietly. "We've been preparing for this war long before it started. Every lost colony, every battle, they've all been bait. Now we draw them in." A wave of determination filled the room. Humanity would no longer defend. It would strike. 3 days later, the largest human fleet ever assembled moved into position. World ships like Atlas, Odyssey Prime, and Valiant Dawn emerged from the shadows of Neptune's rings. They were not elegant like alien ships, they were brutal, steel giants carved by human hands. Their engines glowed red, their weapons charged with terrifying energy. From orbit, they looked like cities with teeth. Captain Maya stood on the bridge of the Valiant Dawn, watching the alien fleets gathering in the distance. "So this is it," she whispered. Reeves's voice came over the comms, steady and cold. "No speeches, no mercy. End this." The order was given. Thousands of human ships surged forward in perfect unison. Missiles streaked through the blackness. Lasers painted red lines across the void. Alien defenses flared in panic as human AIs jammed their systems and tore through encrypted channels. The Zelthar commander of the last standing fleet screamed into his comms, "They are everywhere! Their ships, they fight like machines. His voice broke off as the Erebus appeared behind his flagship, silent and massive. A single cannon fired and the alien ship vanished in light. All across the battlefield, the same scene repeated. Humanity was not just fighting. They were executing a plan that had been waiting for decades. Every move had purpose, every strike had timing. Alien soldiers began to lose hope. The stories that had once sounded like myths, the indomitable humans, the relentless Terrans, were now terrifying truth. In the middle of chaos, one alien general tried to open peace talks. He sent a signal across human frequencies. "We surrender. Please cease fire. We will withdraw our fleets." The reply came from Admiral Reeves himself. His voice was calm, almost sad. "It's too late for peace. You declared war on humanity. Now you will witness the fury you awoke." The next wave hit. Human bombers descended on the alien homeworlds, targeting weapon factories and military command centers. The surface of one planet, Zelthera Prime, burned brighter than a sunrise. For the first time in their history, the aliens felt what it meant to be hunted. Back on Earth, news of the offensive spread. The night skies above cities glowed faintly with the reflection of distant battles. Families gathered around holoscreens, praying for loved ones among the stars. Children watched the news in silence. Some were proud, some were afraid. One young boy looked up at his mother and asked, "Are we the good ones?" She did not answer. She only hugged him tighter. In orbit above Zelthera Prime, the war reached its final act. Human warships surrounded the planet like a ring of fire. The alien cities below burned, and the screams of their people echoed through broken transmissions. Reeves watched from the Erebus. His reflection shone in the glass of the command deck, surrounded by the light of destruction. "Sir," said a communications officer, "they've stopped firing. Their defenses are gone." Reeves nodded. "Hold position. Let the message spread." Maya's voice came through the intercom. "Message, sir?" He looked out at the dying world. "Yes, let the galaxy see this. Let them understand the cost of waking us," and so the human fleet stopped firing. They watched silently as the alien world burned itself out. The war was over. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's wrath, but in the silence that followed, Reeves felt no triumph, only a heavy weight in his chest. "We won," Maya said softly. He turned to her hologram and shook his head. "No one wins a war like this." As the human ships turned back toward Earth, the stars glowed faintly in their wake. The galaxy would never forget what it had seen. On dozens of alien worlds, whispers began to spread. A new legend. They spoke not of Earth as a world, but as a force. A storm that sleeps in peace but wakes with fire. And across the endless darkness, the message carried from one dying frequency to another. Do not anger the humans. They do not fight for power. They fight for existence. The war was over. The stars, once filled with fire and battle cries, were quiet now. Wreckage drifted through the cold darkness. Silent reminders of everything that had been lost. Human ships, alien ruins, frozen soldiers, all floated together in the same endless night. There was no victory parade, no cheers. Only the soundless whisper of the dead moving through space. Admiral John Reeves stood alone on the observation deck of the Erebus, watching the burned remains of the last alien world fade into the distance. The reflection of blue Earth shimmered faintly on his visor, a symbol of what they had fought to protect. Captain Maya Chen approached quietly. "The reports are in," she said. "Their empire has collapsed. The Zelthar leadership is gone. Entire systems are surrendering." Reeves nodded but did not smile. "And our losses?" Maya hesitated. 70% of the fleet. Half the colony's dark. Mars Habitat 4. Gone. For a long moment he said nothing. The hum of the engines filled the silence. Then softly he whispered, "So this is what survival costs." Back on Earth, the world was still trying to understand what had happened. Cities were lit, but the lights felt dimmer. People went to work, but their eyes carried the weight of loss. On every screen, the same image played. The return of the Terran fleet emerging from the blackness of space like ghosts. When the ships landed, crowds gathered in silence. Families waited at the docking stations, holding photos of loved ones who would never step off those ramps again. Children waved flags, but the joy in their movements was broken by confusion. Humanity had won. Yes, but the victory had come at a cost too heavy to name. Inside the Hall of Command, leaders from surviving colonies and Earth's Council gathered. Reeves entered the chamber, his uniform still scorched from the final battle. The crowd stood as he approached the podium, but he raised a hand to stop them. "There are no heroes in war," he said quietly. "Only survivors." The room fell silent. His voice was calm but carried the weight of steel. "When this began, they called us primitive, weak, divided. But they never understood what makes us human. We are not the strongest, not the smartest, but we endure. We remember, and when the universe tries to break us, we rise." He paused, looking at the faces before him. Some proud, some broken. We did not fight for revenge. We fought because they left us no choice. But from this day forward, let this war stand as a warning to every world, to every race, to every empire that thinks humanity can be conquered. He leaned closer to the microphone, his tone colder now. "We do not seek war, but never mistake our peace for weakness." Those words spread faster than any weapon. They became legend. Within days, alien transmissions carried his message across the stars. Empires that once ignored Earth now listened in silence. Fleets that had once circled human space retreated beyond the rim. For the first time in galactic history, the universe feared humanity, not because of power, but because of what they saw in human eyes. Determination that refused to die. In the months that followed, the Terran fleet helped rebuild. Human engineers worked alongside the few surviving Zelthar civilians, offering food, medicine, and safety. There was no hate now, only quiet understanding. The war had taken too much from both sides. One day Reeves visited one of the ruined alien cities. The ground was covered in glass from melted towers. A young alien child watched him from behind a broken wall, eyes wide with fear. Reeves knelt down and removed his helmet. "It's over," he said softly. "No more war." The child stared at him for a long time, then reached out with a trembling hand and touched his uniform. Reeves smiled faintly. "Remember this," he whispered. "We are not your enemies, but never force us to become what we were." Back on Earth, life began to move forward. The oceans glowed blue again. The colonies on Mars were rebuilt, stronger than before. Humanity spread across the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians. But deep within every human heart, something had changed. They had seen what they were capable of, the rage, the strength, the fire. And they knew that if ever challenged again, that fire could return. One evening, as the sun set over New Geneva, Maya Chen walked through the memorial gardens. Thousands of names were carved into black stone walls. Names of soldiers, scientists, civilians, all who had fallen in the war fury. A small boy stood nearby, placing a white flower at the base of the monument. He looked up at Maya. "My father fought in the fleet," he said quietly. "He said humans are dangerous when they're angry. Is that true?" Maya looked at the glowing horizon, her eyes reflecting the red of the setting sun. "Yes," she said softly, "but only when we are forced to be." That night, a final transmission was sent into deep space, a message encoded in every language, every frequency, every spectrum known. It carried a simple phrase that would echo across galaxies for generations. "We do not conquer. We remember. We do not seek war, but we will finish it. We are humanity." The signal traveled for centuries, bouncing from star to star, reaching worlds that had never even heard of Earth. Some ignored it. Others listened and built their defenses, but a few, the wise ones, whispered a single truth to their children before sleep. If you ever see a blue planet rise in the sky, do not attack it. For those who live there have survived everything, and they will again. And so peace returned, an uneasy, fragile peace. The stars no longer burned, but they remembered. Humanity had proven itself not as destroyers, but as something greater, beings who could face the endless dark and still hold on to hope. The galaxy would never be the same, because now it knew. The wrath of humanity sleeps, but it never dies.